By now you've all figured out I lied when I said I was going to do a quick gasket and bearing job. Boy was I delusional. I've had to make a lot of changes in order to make these parts fit, and every change is affecting my blueprint, making me have to go back and revise the numbers over and over again. The dish volume, for instance, I didn't even lose 1/3 of a cc per cylinder here, maybe 1/4 of a cc, but it's a change nonetheless. When you spend this kind of time and trouble making a blueprint, the quality of your build goes way up. Though it may seem like a lot of work, it doesn't just give you the peace of mind that your parts fit. Once you're ready to get into some serious modifications and tuning, you'll realize you did yourself an enormous favor. You'll have all the numbers and no questions where these numbers fit into the calculators. So you got to keep your blueprint updated. Also remember that the head gasket crush plays a factor. Subtract the crush value from all of the valve clearance measurements you found, and that's about as close of an estimate as you're ever going to get of your actual valve clearance. In Cylinder Head 205, we talked about the tools necessary to set the valve timing on a dual overhead cam 4G63. And then we set the cams where the manufacturer said they should be for optimal performance. Once we discovered inadequate valve clearance, the camshaft positions were changed to allow for more valve clearance. It was still too tight, so I disassembled the whole thing, had the pistons fly cut, and then once again made a video about cleaning it and putting it all back together again. Now I have to redo my valve clearance measurements in order to make sure that they make the cut. I really don't know how many final assemblies I'm allowed to have, but I promise I'll stop doing it after the last one. I can't stress enough the importance of developing the mental fortitude to face every challenge during your assembly and muster the willingness to do the job as many times as necessary to make it right. That's really what this video is all about. I've inserted buttons that link to the important stuff if you need the detail, but we're about to cover a whole lot of ground. Each second of this is a minute. I've thrown in a few tips and surprises, and even invited Rojo del Chocolate to accompany us on this journey. Never give up. Bless it, Senor Chocolate. Getting the valve timing right was a monster, and yes, I did install the cylinder head 8 whole times to get it right. At least now the cams are dialed in, the head is torqued down, and the crankcase is all sealed up. I have the cams set with only 4 degrees of overlap, exactly the way HKS recommended for this combo, and that left me with exactly 100 thousandths of an inch exhaust valve clearance. By the time you round up the hundredths of a decimal place for the tiny change in displacement caused by making my own fly cuts, it still squeaks out a high static compression ratio of 9.8 to 1. The intake valve closes at 28 degrees after bottom dead center, leaving me with a dynamic compression ratio of 9.4 to 1. So if these rings have any life left in them, and my math is right, then I should pull off around 195 psi of cranking pressure. Yes, you did see me sneak a set of ARP head studs in there, and I think they'll be necessary for what I will likely throw at this thing. I have so many options, lots of different options, tons of spare parts. I have a few while you're in there ideas I'd like to try as well that should greatly improve the right foot satisfaction factor and the overall reliability of this build. This is what I meant earlier when I said that spending the time to get it right improves the quality of the build, and I'm really glad to have this part of the build behind me. So if you're new here, there's a subscribe button that will help you see the hilarious day when this Elantra comes back to life, and until then, thanks for riding shotgun.